Today, I want to talk about 3 powerful forces that shape our lives: our mind, our mouth, and our money. If you can master these 3, you can master almost anything. Control your mind, because every decision begins with a thought. A mind without discipline is like a car with no brakes. It will take you places you never intended to go. Train your mind to focus, stay positive, and seek growth. Don't be a prisoner of your emotions or fears. Master your thoughts and you'll master your life. Control your mouth, because words have power. What you say can uplift or destroy, build or break, connect or divide. Speak with intention. Choose words that reflect who you truly are and who you want to become. Learn when to speak and when to stay silent, because not every thought deserves to be said out loud. And finally, control your money. Money is a tool, not a master. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will disappear. Spend wisely, save diligently, and invest intentionally. Financial freedom is not about how much you earn. It's about how well you manage what you have. Remember this: when your mind is focused, your words are wise, and your money is managed, you become unstoppable. Your mind is the command center of your life. Every word you speak, every action you take, and every habit you form begins with a single thought. If you want to change your life, you must start by changing your thinking. The problem is, most people allow their minds to wander without direction. They react to situations rather than respond to them thoughtfully. They live on autopilot, driven by habit instead of purpose. Mastering your mind means taking back control and deciding what thoughts are worth keeping and which ones need to be dismissed. Mental discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Just like physical fitness, mental strength requires consistent training. When negative thoughts arise, it takes effort to recognize them, question them, and replace them with something more constructive. But the more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Over time, you'll start to notice when your thinking is spiraling into fear, anger, or self-doubt. And more importantly, you'll have the tools to stop it. A powerful mind begins with self-awareness. You have to start noticing what triggers certain thoughts or emotions. Is it stress, rejection, insecurity? Once you identify the patterns, you can start breaking them. Many people blame external circumstances for their inner chaos. But the truth is that your mind creates your experience more than your circumstances do. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you interpret and respond to it. The quality of your thoughts directly determines the quality of your decisions. When your mind is cluttered, you're more likely to act impulsively, speak recklessly, or waste time on things that don't matter. On the other hand, a calm, focused mind helps you move with clarity and confidence. That's why practices like journaling, meditation, or even just quiet reflection can be so powerful. They help you declutter your mental space and bring clarity to your day. One of the biggest threats to mental mastery is distraction. In the modern world, your attention is under constant attack by your phone, social media, the news, and even other people's drama. If you don't protect your focus, your mind becomes a battlefield of competing thoughts and emotions. You have to learn to tune out the noise, shut out the unnecessary, and be intentional about where your mental energy goes. Focus is a superpower, and very few people have it. Another key element of mastering your mind is learning to delay gratification. The mind naturally seeks comfort, pleasure, and ease, but growth requires discomfort, effort, and patience. Training your mind means teaching it to do what's right, not what's easy. Whether it's waking up early to work on your goals, staying quiet in the face of provocation, or saving money instead of spending it impulsively, every time you choose discipline over desire, you strengthen your mental muscles. Fear is another mental enemy that must be faced. Most of the limits in your life are not real, they are imagined. Your mind will create 100 reasons why you can't or shouldn't do something, and unless you learn to challenge those thoughts, you'll stay stuck. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you don't let fear make your decisions. When you master your mind, you stop letting fear write your story. Resilience is a byproduct of mental mastery. Life will test you through failure, loss, rejection, and disappointment. If your mind is weak, you'll break. But if it's strong, you'll bend and bounce back. Strength doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from enduring it, learning from it, and refusing to be defeated by it. A strong mind turns adversity into fuel and setbacks into lessons. Ultimately, mastering your mind is the foundation of all self-control. If you don't rule your thoughts will rule you, and most of the time, they will lead you away from the life you want. Start by noticing your thoughts, then challenge them, redirect them, and over time, rebuild your entire mental landscape. When your mind is under your control, everything else, your words, your actions, your habits, begins to align. Words are not just sounds that fill the air. They are seeds that grow into outcomes. What you say can influence how people see you, how opportunities find you, and even how you see yourself. Every word carries energy, and that energy has the power to shape your reality. That's why it's essential to be intentional with your speech. Casual words can lead to serious consequences, and a few seconds of careless talk can create damage that takes years to repair. When we speak, we reveal more than just our thoughts. We reveal our values, our fears, and our level of self-control. Some people use words like weapons, attacking when angry or belittling others to feel powerful. Others use words like tools, building up those around them and communicating clearly even when under pressure. Learning to control your mouth means choosing the latter. It means thinking before speaking and asking yourself, is this true? Is this necessary? Is this kind? What we say about others says a lot about who we are. Gossip, criticism, and constant negativity may feel like harmless chatter, but they gradually erode trust and respect. If you speak ill of others often, people will assume you do the same behind their backs. Instead, use your voice to spread truth, encouragement, and clarity. Don't just speak to be heard, speak to make a positive impact. The maturity of a person is reflected in their ability to uplift even in difficult conversations. Just as your words affect others, they also affect you. Self-talk, the way you speak to yourself, shapes your mindset and your self-esteem. If you constantly call yourself stupid, unlucky, or unworthy, your mind will eventually believe it and act accordingly. But when you speak life over yourself, words like I'm capable, I'm growing, and I can handle this, you begin to reprogram your inner narrative. You become stronger, more confident, and more focused simply by changing your internal dialogue. Emotional control is a major part of verbal discipline. In moments of anger, disappointment, or stress, it's tempting to lash out or speak harshly. But those are the moments when silence or carefully chosen words are most powerful. Learn to pause, breathe, reflect. You don't need to win every argument or make every point. Sometimes saying less is a sign of greater wisdom than saying more. Words once spoken cannot be taken back, so make sure they're words you won't regret. Being mindful of your words also means being aware of tone and timing. The same sentence can come across as compassionate or condescending depending on how and when it's said. Timing matters. Giving advice when someone's grieving or criticizing when someone's vulnerable often backfires. Learn to read the emotional climate of a situation. Speak at the right time, in the right way, and you'll be more likely to be heard and respected. Communication is more than speaking, it's connection. It's about making people feel seen, heard, and understood. When you speak mindfully, you open doors to trust, collaboration, and deeper relationships. People are drawn to those who listen well, speak wisely, and express themselves clearly. You don't need a loud voice to be powerful. You need an intentional one. Let your words reflect your integrity, not just your opinions. In the digital world, verbal carelessness has only intensified. A single post, text, or comment can go viral or destroy reputations. It's easy to type out what you feel in the moment, but the consequences can be lasting. Online or offline, your words represent you. Guard them the way you would guard your most valuable asset, because they often are. Use your voice to add value, not noise to the world around you. Mastering your mouth is not about censorship, it's about consciousness. It's not about never expressing yourself, it's about expressing yourself in a way that builds bridges rather than walls. When you truly understand the weight your words carry, you begin to speak with greater care, courage, and clarity. And when your words align with your character, people will not only hear you, they will trust and follow you. Silence is often misunderstood in today's loud, fast-moving world. We're taught to speak up, voice our opinions, and respond quickly. While there's value in expressing oneself, there is just as much, if not more, power in knowing when to say silence. Silence is not weakness, it's restraint. It's the strength to pause when provoked, the wisdom to withhold when words would worsen, and the discipline to observe when speaking would serve only ego, not purpose. One of the greatest forms of self-control is the ability to stay quiet in moments of emotional turbulence. Whether you're angry, hurt, or frustrated, silence gives you the space to process before reacting. In that space, clarity emerges. You can assess the situation, consider the consequences of your words, and decide on a response that aligns with your principles rather than your emotions. Silence allows the storm to pass before you set sail. Silence also protects your energy. Not every argument is worth engaging in, and not every opinion requires a response. Sometimes saying nothing is the most dignified response to pettiness, provocation, or ignorance. The moment you react to every small irritation, you hand over your peace to external forces. But when you remain silent, you remain in control. You conserve energy for battles that matter and avoid the noise that distracts from your true purpose. There's power in not revealing everything you think or feel. People often speak too much out of nervousness, a need for approval, or fear of being misunderstood. But some things are better kept private. Not as a form of secrecy, but as a form of strength. Your silence can be a boundary, a protection, or a form of self-respect. Not everyone deserves to know your every thought, plan, or feeling. Some truths gain value when spoken at the right time. Not every truth must be immediate. Listening is another strength that grows in silence. Many people listen just to respond, not to understand. But when you embrace silence, you become a better listener. You begin to hear not only what people say, but what they mean. You pick up on tone, body language, and emotion. This makes your responses more thoughtful and your relationships more authentic. Listening in silence builds bridges that talking too much can easily burn. Silence is also the birthplace of insight. When you quiet the noise around you, social media, conversations, distractions, you create space for reflection. It's in silence that new ideas are born, patterns are recognized, and personal growth happens. Many breakthroughs occur not in the middle of discussion, but in moments of stillness. Creativity, clarity, and inner peace all live in the quiet corners of our lives. In conflict, silence can be disarming. When someone expects you to argue or react emotionally and you choose stillness instead, it unsettles them. Not in a malicious way, but in a way that forces reflection. Silence in conflict can create space for reconciliation. It can lower the temperature of a heated moment. Sometimes the most powerful move is not to win the argument, but to preserve the relationship by not escalating the tension. In leadership and influence, those who speak less often hold more weight. When you're known for choosing your words carefully and speaking only when necessary, people listen when you do speak. Your silence adds gravity to your voice. You don't need to be the loudest in the room to be the most respected. The ability to hold back, wait, and watch reveals depth and maturity. A quiet presence often commands more attention than constant noise. Ultimately, silence is a tool, sharp, strong, and strategic. It can be used to protect peace, prevent regret, and preserve power. But it must be intentional. Silence is not the absence of thought, it is the refinement of it. When you understand that not everything demands your voice, you begin to value the strength of restraint. You learn that silence is not just a space between words, it is sometimes the most meaningful word of all. Money is not just about numbers, it's about choices, control, and freedom. Yet many people spend their lives chasing more without ever mastering what they already have. Managing your money isn't about being rich, it's about being responsible. Whether you earn a little or a lot, what truly matters is how well you handle it. Poor money management leads to stress, debt, and missed opportunities. Wise money management, on the other hand, leads to stability, independence, and peace of mind. One of the first steps in managing your money is knowing exactly where it's going. Many people avoid looking at their finances closely out of fear or discomfort, but ignorance is expensive. Tracking your income and expenses, no matter how small, creates awareness, and awareness is power. When you track your spending, you start to see patterns. You realize how much goes to things you don't need and how little goes to the things that truly matter. Budgeting isn't about restricting your life. It's about directing your life. A budget is simply a plan for your money, and without a plan, your money will find its own way out of your pocket. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Creating a monthly budget gives every dollar a job. It helps you prioritize what's essential, like savings, investments, and necessities, and cut back on what's wasteful or impulsive. A budget is your roadmap to financial discipline. That is one of the biggest barriers to financial freedom, and yet so many people treat it casually. Borrowing for unnecessary things or spending beyond your means is a fast road to financial stress. Credit cards, loans, and interest can quietly drain your wealth if not handled wisely. Learning to live within your means, spending less than you earn, is a basic but powerful principle. Avoiding debt when possible and attacking it aggressively when it exists is a sign of true money maturity. Saving money is not about hoarding, it's about preparing. Life is full of unexpected events, medical emergencies, job losses, family crises. Having an emergency fund isn't just smart, it's essential. Savings offer peace of mind and flexibility. Beyond emergencies, saving allows you to take advantage of opportunities. Whether it's starting a business, investing in property, or taking a much-needed break, people who manage money well are always preparing for both storms and sunshine. Investing is where money starts working for you. Once you've managed your spending and built up savings, the next level is learning how to grow your wealth. Investments can be intimidating, but they don't have to be complex. Start simple, learn about compounding interest, long-term stock market growth, and passive income. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Managing money isn't just about today. It's about building a future where money is your tool, not your trap. Financial literacy is the foundation of good money management. Schools rarely teach it, but it's one of the most important life skills you can develop. Educate yourself. Read books, watch videos, attend workshops, learn the basics of saving, budgeting, investing, taxes, and credit. The more you understand money, the less likely it is to control you. Financial ignorance leads to costly mistakes. Financial knowledge leads to smart decisions and greater control. Managing your money also means aligning your spending with your values. Too often we spend to impress others, to keep up appearances, or to fill emotional voids. But when you know what truly matters to you, your spending reflects that. You stop chasing trends and start funding your dreams. Money should support your goals, not distract from them. When your finances are aligned with your values, you experience a greater sense of fulfillment, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually. Ultimately, how you manage your money reflects how you manage your life. Discipline, patience, foresight, and self-awareness, all these traits are developed through financial stewardship. Money is not good or evil, it is neutral. It amplifies who you are and how you think. If you handle it carelessly, it will slip through your fingers. But if you handle it with wisdom, it becomes a resource that fuels your freedom, supports your growth, and empowers you to live life on your terms. At first glance, discipline and freedom may seem like opposites. One sounds like control, restriction, and routine. The other sounds like spontaneity, ease, and choice. But in reality, discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is its foundation. Without discipline, we become slaves to impulse, emotion, and external pressure. With discipline, we become masters of our time, our behavior, and our future. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want, whenever you want. It's having the power to do what you need when it matters most. Discipline is the ability to choose long-term gain over short-term comfort. It means waking up early, even when you want to sleep in, studying when you'd rather scroll, saving money when you're tempted to spend it, and walking away from drama when your ego wants to engage. These choices are not easy, but they are necessary. Every time you say no to a distraction or temptation, you say yes to your growth. Discipline sharpens your focus and gives you control over your habits, your health, and your happiness. The lie many people believe is that freedom comes from avoiding structure. But that mindset leads to chaos, financial instability, broken relationships, missed goals, and regret. Freedom is not the absence of boundaries, but the result of building boundaries that protect your peace and purpose. When you have discipline, you don't need to fear life spinning out of control because you've already taken control. You've created systems and habits that support your vision. Discipline isn't something you suddenly have one day. It's built brick by brick, decision by decision. You become disciplined by keeping small promises to yourself. If you say you'll work out, do it. If you say you'll read instead of watching TV, follow through. Each time you act in alignment with your goals instead of your mood, you strengthen your inner resolve. And eventually, discipline becomes part of your identity. It's no longer just what you do, it's who you are. One powerful truth is that the most successful people in any field, whether business, sport, or the arts, aren't necessarily the most talented. They are often the most disciplined. They show up daily, even when they don't feel like it. They train when others rest, prepare when others procrastinate, and keep going long after others quit. Discipline is the quiet engine behind every visible success. It doesn't look flashy, but it works relentlessly behind the scenes. There's also emotional discipline, the ability to regulate your responses, stay calm under pressure, and choose peace over reaction. People who lack emotional discipline often sabotage relationships, lash out, or make impulsive decisions they later regret. But when you train your emotions, you protect your integrity. You realize you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, or allow every bad mood to control your day. You become stable in an unstable world. In the area of finances, discipline means sticking to a budget, saying no to unnecessary purchases, and resisting the pressure to impress others. It means saving consistently, even when it's boring, and investing patiently, even when results are slow. Financial freedom isn't about how much you earn, it's about how consistently and wisely you manage what you have. And that kind of consistency is born out of discipline, not desire. Discipline is also the gatekeeper of health. Good health doesn't come from a single workout or diet. It comes from years of small, smart choices. Drinking water instead of soda, walking instead of scrolling, resting instead of pushing through burnout. People who are physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy almost always practice some form of discipline. They may not be perfect, but they are intentional. They don't leave their well-being to chance. They take responsibility for it daily. Ultimately, discipline gives you the ability to design your life instead of reacting to it. It creates the space for real freedom, the kind that allows you to live with purpose, pursue your passions, and make choices based on vision rather than survival. When you live with discipline, you don't feel trapped. You feel empowered because you know your life is not ruled by chaos, but shaped by clarity, order, and self-control. Life is a journey, but far too many people live like passengers. They sit in the back seat, letting circumstances, people, or emotions dictate their direction. They blame traffic, complain about detours, and wait for someone else to take the wheel. But here's the truth. You are the driver. You hold the steering wheel of your life. No one else is responsible for your destination. Not your past, not your parents, not your boss, your friends, or your critics. You alone have the power to choose your path, your pace, and your priorities. Being the driver means taking ownership, not just when things go well, but especially when they don't. It's easy to claim the credit for success, but maturity is proven when you also own your mistakes. Drivers don't blame the car, the road, or the weather. They adapt. They slow down when visibility is low, take new routes when obstacles arise, and never stop moving forward. Owning your life means recognizing that even when external events are out of your control, your response is always within your control. When you're in the driver's seat, clarity of direction is essential. You don't get into a car without knowing where you want to go, or at least having a sense of direction. In the same way, you can't live life passively, expecting to end up somewhere great without intention. Set goals, define your values, map out your vision. When you have a clear destination, distractions lose their power. You stop drifting and start driving with purpose. That purpose gives you fuel. It reminds you why you wake up early, why you say no to things that don't serve you, and why you stay focused even when the road gets long. Purpose helps you push through the boring miles and the lonely highways. It gives meaning to the struggle and direction to your decisions. The driver doesn't need motivation from the passengers because the mission itself is the motivation. Of course, being the driver doesn't mean the journey will always be smooth. You will face traffic, delays, setbacks, and moments when you feel stuck. You encounter potholes, mistakes, disappointments, and failures. You might even get lost for a while. But that's part of the drive. Being in control doesn't guarantee a perfect road. It guarantees that no matter what happens, you're not just waiting for someone else to rescue you. You find the route, you restart the engine, you keep going. Many people fear taking the wheel because it means taking responsibility. When you're the driver, you can't say, "I didn't ask for this road. You chose to be here." And while that's intimidating, it's also liberating because if you're responsible for the journey, that means you're also responsible for the victory. You don't have to wait for permission, luck, or rescue. You get to create the life you want, one decision, 1 mile, 1 moment at a time. Drivers understand the importance of routine maintenance. Just like a car needs oil changes, tire checks, and engine tune-ups, your life needs consistent care. Rest, reflection, resetting. Being in control doesn't mean driving non-stop. It means knowing when to stop and refuel, when to rest, and when to take care of your mind, body, and spirit, so you don't burn out on the way to where the road you take may look different from others, and that's okay. Some people are on highways speeding toward their goals. Others are taking scenic routes, discovering things slowly. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. You don't know the terrain they've crossed or the miles they've already traveled. Focus on your own road, drive your pace, trust your process. Everyone arrives at their destination in their own time. Comparison only causes unnecessary detours. As a driver, you also decide who rides with you. Some passengers are helpful. They encourage you, support you, and help navigate when you're unsure. Others are distractions. They argue about the route, criticize your speed, or try to take over the wheel. You have the right to decide who stays and who gets out. Not everyone deserves a seat in your car, especially if they're slowing down your journey or steering you off course. There will also be moments when you pick up wisdom from other drivers. That's not weakness, it's growth. Learning from mentors, studying maps others have drawn, and asking for directions when you're lost doesn't mean giving up the wheel. It means equipping yourself with better tools for the trip. A wise driver is always learning new routes, better strategies, safer methods. Arrogance leads to wrong turns. Humility leads to progress. Driving also means adjusting your speed. You don't need to sprint through life to prove anything to anyone. Sometimes the right thing to do is slow down, appreciate the view, and make deliberate choices. Fast isn't always better. Sometimes it's more valuable to move with intention, not speed. Driving your life is not about rushing to success. It's about aligning every move with your purpose and refusing to be controlled by pressure or pain. Ultimately, realizing you're the driver awakens a new level of power in you. You no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances. You become a creator of your reality. Every day, every action, every decision becomes a turn on the road. You learn that success isn't found in waiting for the road to get easier, but in becoming the kind of driver who can handle any road. The more you embrace that power, the more confidently you'll take the wheel, and the more meaningful your journey becomes. So from this moment on, stop waiting for a perfect road, a better vehicle, or someone else to show up and steer for you. You already have what it takes. The keys are in your hands. The engine is running. It's time to stop doubting, stop delaying, and start driving. Your life is not a ride you're stuck on. It's a road you're meant to lead. Own your direction, trust your instincts, and remember, you are not a passenger, you are the driver.